In the previous part, we met Lucy, a middle school girl who was smart but often distracted in class. Her teacher scolded her for not paying attention and asked her parents to come to school. Lucy's brother, Sang-Yan, refused to help her, so she asked Duan, her brother's friend, to pretend to be her brother. Duan agreed and helped her out. Fast forward to high school, Lucy developed a crush on Duan but was heartbroken when she heard he had a girlfriend. She visited Duan's hometown, where he helped her out but didn't introduce her to his rumored girlfriend. Lucy returned home, feeling distant from Duan. She started college in Duan City and made new friends. At her university, she met Ming, who showed interest in her. At a night out with friends, she accidentally bumped into Duan and they shared a moment of surprise. In present, Duan grabs the pack of cigarettes and asks Lucy whether she has taken up smoking as well. She responds that she does not smoke and clarifies that the cigarettes belong to her friend, as she is borrowing her friend's jacket. Duan remains skeptical and questions her about her alcohol consumption habits. She informs him that she drinks only occasionally and she has only consumed alcohol a handful of times. Duan then went directly to his point and asked Lucy why she has not been replying to his messages and phone calls. He then inquires how long she has been attending this university. Lucy informs him that she has been there for a month when Duan questions her why she didn't seek him out. So she lies and states that she didn't have any time due to being fully occupied with her academics and also juggling a part-time job. Duan rebuts her claim by stating that he also used to respond to her while he was employed part-time. Moreover, he also used to assist her in studying and used to collect her from school occasionally, all while juggling his graduation and his part-time job. Lucy is unsure of what to say, and she is uncertain about how to inform him that she is attempting to distance herself from him after learning about his girlfriend. So she swiftly goes indoors to her friend Rose and inquires about when they will be returning to the hotel. Rose informs her that they will depart by 11 p.m., but Lucy deems this time too far, as her mother has instructed her not to remain out for such a prolonged period. Therefore, she informs her companion that she is leaving and will return to the hostel on her own. As she strolls through the corridor towards the exit, she speaks negatively about Duan. She is unaware that Duan is sitting outside, so he inquires if she is talking about him, which startles her. He asks Lucy the whereabouts of her companions with whom she was supposed to return to the hostel. When Lucy informs him that they will be departing later, and she is heading back to her residence early, Duan insists to drive her back to her dormitory in his car. While they are in the car, Duan advises her not to remain quiet and instead to voice her thoughts so she can address all the confusion she might have. But Lucy disregards this and chooses to keep quiet. Duan inquires if her motive for attending the university was due to her partner she met on the online dating app, as this town was also his birthplace. Lucy informs Duan that this is not true and declines promptly. When they eventually reach the hostel, Duan exits his car and hands her a pouch of medication, urging her to consume it before bedtime, or else she will awaken with the most severe headache and hangover imaginable. Lucy does not offer him any response, but she accepts the medicine from him. When she arrives at her room, she follows his instructions, and she consumes the medicine just before going to bed to avoid a headache the following day. The next day, all four of the girls were chatting about the gathering from the previous evening, when Rose abruptly asked if Lucy had gotten any messages from Ming. She recounted how Ming had been inquiring about Lucy the whole time after her departure. When Lucy glanced at her phone, it appears that she received a text from Ming in which he instructed her not to go to the hostel by herself in the future. Instead, he requested her to inform him when she plans to go to the hostel, assuring her that he will safely escort her back. Ling and Rose began taunting Lucy by insinuating that Ming has a crush on her and is drawn to her, but this bothered Shin and she was displeased by it as she was developing emotions for Ming. Lucy gathers all three of the girls together and shares with them her personal tale masqueraded as a friend's narrative. She shares with them how her pal began to fancy her older sibling's chum and recounts how this buddy of her brother's was a video game creator. Ling abruptly inquires about the game he created, as she is an avid gamer when Lucy discloses the title of the game. She then brings up an image on her smartphone and explains how this game is among the top-selling games and has clinched the Game of the Year award. She informs everyone how she is still engrossed in playing that game. Ling elaborates to Lucy how this implies that Duan is a highly accomplished game developer. Rose asks Lucy about the man's age and the woman's age, so Lucy informs her that the man is 25 years old while the woman is only 20 years old. All of the girls are a tad taken aback by the immense age difference between them, but then they convey to Lucy that if there is affection between them and they both genuinely value one another, the age disparity between them both is not significant. Lucy was pondering about something in connection to this, and suddenly she receives a call from her father, so she heads to the corner of the room, away from the other girls, and answers the phone call. Lucy's dad instructs her to phone Duan and treat him to a gratitude meal as a token of appreciation for all the assistance he provided with her studies, fetching her from school, and various other things. So she cheerfully agrees, and then she sends a message to Dwan. In the message, she mentions that she wishes to invite him out for a gratitude dinner for dropping her to the hostel last night in his car, instead of allowing her to go by herself. Dwan is very occupied with his job, as he is striving to enhance his game, attending various meetings and undertaking a variety of tasks. However, upon receiving Lucy's text, he becomes delighted, and a grin appears on his face. He promptly calls Lucy and informs her that he is extremely busy this week due to his packed schedule, but he is available next week. They both agree on a time for the thank you dinner next week. The three girls are at their college when Rose approaches them with Ming's acquaintance from the gathering and informs the girls that they are now officially in a relationship. At this particular moment, Ming approaches the girls and converses with Lucy directly. He informs her how he unintentionally bought an additional ticket to the movies, so he invited Lucy to accompany him next week. Lucy declines and states that she is unable to go as she has a prior dinner arrangement with Dwan, but after everyone persuades her, she agrees to attempt to rearrange her schedule and attend the movie. She then departs. Dwan is at his residence when the doorbell rings. He answers the door to find a package from the same girl who has been incessantly sending him packages, causing him discomfort and unease. He places the package in the corner of the room with the rest of the parcels from the girl named Zhang. He messages her to stop bothering him and leave him alone. The girl, who does not appreciate this message, starts ringing him repeatedly, but he dismisses all of her calls and refuses them. Dwan has been so occupied that he has not even had a moment to consume his meals and has been going without eating for days. When he is in a meeting, his acquaintance brings him food which he consumes during the meeting. Meeting concludes, he begins to feel under the weather, and ultimately, he develops a high temperature. This is the same evening when he is meant to dine with Lucy, so he contacts her and informs her that he will not be able to attend. Lucy right away realizes that Dwan is not feeling well based on the tone of his voice, so she announces that she is coming over to his workplace to fetch him. He tries to decline a lot, but Lucy does not heed him, and before he even realizes that Lucy is already there, she lifts him up and sustains him while walking. Dwan jests about how a petite girl like Lucy can manage with a large man like himself, but she remains silent and attempts to hail a taxi to stop. Dwan believes that she didn't respond because she didn't appreciate the joke, so he apologizes and explains that he was merely jesting, not being serious. Lucy is currently entirely concentrated on reserving an Uber and securing a taxi for Dwan to transport him to the hospital, so she ignores him. After a few moments of locating a cab, the pair accidentally collide with each other, and Dwan's lips meet Lucy's forehead as if he was planting a kiss. The both of them take a moment to digest what occurred, and then they begin behaving as usual as if this had never occurred. After they finally arrive at the hospital, the doctor informs them that Dwan is unwell and requires an overnight stay for evaluation, with the possibility of an extended stay. Lucy gets a call from her mother, and she updates her mother on everything that's happening at the hospital. Her mother feels truly unhappy for Dwayne, and then chooses to inform Lucy about Dwan's previous experiences. She informs Lucy about how when Dwan was 11 years old, his mother died in a car crash, and since then, Lucy's family was covering his school fees and his living costs. But he secured employment and reimbursed the family the full sum, and ever since then it has become his routine to disregard himself and concentrate solely on his job rather than himself. Lucy's mother instructs her to remain with him in the hospital, as he has no one else in the world to look after him besides her. She reiterates to Lucy that the family is indebted to him due to all the assistance he has offered to them throughout the years. Lucy also feels sad for Dwan, and then she resolves that she will be remaining with him in the hospital when she goes to see Dwan in the room. Dwan asks her why she is still lingering there, and she reveals that she will be staying with him for the night. He tries to persuade her to return to her dormitory and assures her that he will look after himself and she doesn't have to remain. But she does not heed his words, as she has already made a decision, so she opts to remain, and she informs him that. Lucy opts to cleanse his face for him since he cannot stand and go shower, so she fetches a wet cloth and brings it to him so he can have his face tidy. He grabs the fabric and attempts to do it on his own, but Lucy volunteered to do it instead. Dwan has eyes shut as she's cleansing his face, and she is scrutinizing him from such a close proximity that she continues to gaze at him, then abruptly opens his eyes, and the instance transforms into a sort of intimate connection for a few moments, while she rushes off to the bathroom pondering why he suddenly opened his eyes. Meanwhile, on the flip side, he was delighted by this, and he continued to grin and reminisce about the unintended peck he planted on her forehead earlier. Then afterwards, they prepare to rest, and as Lucy is resting on her bed on the ground, she examines her phone only to discover multiple voice messages from Ming, but she quickly shuts the phone and disregards them. She was actually supposed to go to the cinema with Ming right after supper with Dwayne, but she had to postpone because of the medical crisis Dwan experienced. Dwan inquires if that man is her boyfriend. She denies and explains that he is just a friend. So Dwan questions if she is well liked at school, to which she affirms and even describes herself as adorable. Following this, Dwan remains silent with no response. The following day, prior to Lucy heading off to her classes, she checks with Dwan if he requires anything, to which he requests for a fresh set of clothes and his laptop from his place. Lucy then heads to his residence, retrieves his laptop, gathers some of his clothes, packs them in a bag, and as she is about to shut the door of the building, Jang instructs asks her to keep it open. Lucy doesn't think much of this situation and leaves the door ajar. Then Jang approaches the entrance and begins knocking loudly, insisting she needs to speak with him. When Lucy brings the laptop to Duan, she advises him not to overwork as he requires rest. Duan responds jokingly, remarking that Lucy must have matured as she is now scolding him like his mother. There's another gentleman in the chamber who is also admitted in the hospital as a patient, so he asks if they are hitched. As a jest, Duan agrees and instructs the man to observe how loudly Lucy is berating him. But Lucy promptly approaches the man and clarifies that they are not a couple, just friends. Then she glances at Duane and he simply responds with a grin. Lucy then eventually arrives at her classroom, and she is tardy, but the other girls have already provided her with a sandwich for breakfast, so she consumes it. After finishing the class and preparing to leave, Ming approaches her and inquires why she didn't attend the movies the previous night. Lucy explains to him that a family member of hers fell ill and had to be hospitalized, so she stayed there overnight. Ming declares that everything is and there are no problems, then invites Lucy to join him for a movie outing the following day. Lucy accepts, confirming his genuine affection for her. Duane, who was released from the hospital, was at his residence discovering little paper notes that Lucy had left instructing him on when to do certain tasks and giving him prompts for his medication, rest, and meals. This made him extremely pleased, and he would grin every time he discovered a note because that would make him recognize that Lucy was the only one remaining in the world who truly cared for him to that extent. The following day, Duan receives calls and texts from Jang repeatedly, but he chooses to disregard them. Lucy went to the cinema on a date with Ming. They both spent a good time together, watching the film in comfortable silence. After the movie, they meandered to an arcade and Lucy, excited, asked if they might play a few games. Ming agreed, though his eyes drifted from the flashing screens to the shining figure of Lucy, lit up and lost in the games. She laughed and was so infectious, though Ming found himself more fascinated by her than by anything the arcade offered. Upon coming back to the hostel, they bumped into Lucy's friends, who were getting highly excited about plans to celebrate New Year's together the following day. They enthusiastically request for Ming to join them, which he swiftly accepted, believing that Lucy would be there. He was met with Lucy's sudden decision not to join the crowd. This caused some tension. Ming had agreed only because he assumed Lucy would be there, so without her, he didn't know if he wanted to go either. The next day, her friends prepared to go to the party, and Shin sported a new look that surprised everyone with how cute she looked. All their entreaties and efforts to persuade Lucy were met with a firm decision not to attend the celebration. She watched as all her friends, filled with excitement and expectation, bade their farewells and left. Ming lurked in the hopes that Lucy might change her mind and go along with them. But when the girls turned up to the party without Lucy, Ming's heart sank a little. Shin, who was dressed up and made up specifically in the hopes of capturing Ming's attention, couldn't help but be pleased when he complimented her new look. Her face blushed with pleasure, though it was tinged with the hint of bittersweetness. Later that night, back in her room, Lucy received a call from Duan and was invited for dinner the next day. He reminded her that they had missed the outing in which Duan had fallen sick, and Lucy, thinking back to how she had taken care of him in the hospital, agreed willingly. They met at a cozy restaurant the next evening. Duan insisted on treating her, saying it was the least he could do to thank her. They talked easily, and laughter shared comfortably, just as friends would. As they talked, Jang suddenly appeared in the restaurant with a friend. She had spotted Duan and immediately got angry. She began demanding to know why he had been ignoring her messages and calls. Lucy looked in wonder at Duan, who was calmly telling her that he had nothing to do with Jang anymore, and asked her to leave. The girl instead refused to budge and threw water on him in anger. Lucy, at this, shocked and protective, threw water right back into Jang's face. Her voice was steady as she said, "How dare you?" Jang, furious, demanded to know who Lucy was. Lucy coolly replied that she was nobody, and that Jang had no right to treat Duan this way. It further riled Jang up. She picked up a tray and was about to hit Lucy with it. Swiftly, Duan knocked the tray down and warned Jang not to lay a hand on Lucy or further crosses the line. Jang kept pressing on, asking how Duan could say he had no ties to her, that he could not forget her. The restaurant staff came, dragging Jang out of the building by force. Duan sat shaken, his usual self gone. Lucy dragged him out and put her coat on him, then gently wiped his face with her kerchief. Her hands moved in soft urgency as she wrapped a muffler around his neck, and her concern was written all over her face. Duan sat there, watching her, gratitude and something deeper lighting his eyes. Finally, Lucy asked him about Jang. Duan replied, "She means nothing. She was just a link to my father." Lucy, remembering the incident in the past when Jang had been at Duan's house, reassured Duan that she was not hurt. She urged Duan never to take any bullying from Jang and to report her if need be. Duan nodded, and his eyes lingered on Lucy's face as he appreciated the care and strength of her spirit. Noticing the wound on Duan's face, Lucy carefully applied some medicine. She felt very light and reassuring. Duan, in this biting realization that he was falling in love with Lucy, was taken aback by her strong support. The snow began to fall as they walked out to enjoy the beautiful snowy view. Lucy wished silently silently that Dwan would fall in love with her. Dwan wished for her happiness above all. Meanwhile, Lucy's friends also made wishes. Rose asked Shin for her wish, but Shin kept it to herself as her eyes traveled to Ming while silently wishing for his love. When Rose asked Ming about his wish, he replied that he only wished for happiness for the girl he liked, as his thoughts ran to Lucy. Later, Dwan returned home, his heart feeling a bit lighter after the evening with Lucy. However, the mood he was in was spoiled as he reached the door and found Jang waiting for him, apologizing for her behavior earlier. She confessed it had been the outburst of anger and asked why he needed to romance another girl. Dwayne, in his composed tone, said he owed her nothing and asked her to leave. Jang told Dwan that his father was responsible for the death of her father and that his mother had promised to take care of her family forever. Dwan, whose painful memories came back with these words, walked out. He couldn't stand there anymore. At home, Dwan was lost in thought as his mind went back to the past. The tragedy caused by his father's mistake had led his mother to promise to take care of Jang's family. At school, Dwan had tried to make amends. Jang's anger and the cruel taunts of murderer's son by his peers had wounded him deeply. Now, looking at his mother's photo, Dwan apologized for failing to fulfill her promise. But looking at Lucy's photo, he beamed as he remembered the real happiness she had brought into his life. As the fireworks lighted up the sky for New Year's, Dwan clicked the picture and sent it to Lucy, who texted back that she was watching the same display and that their shared moment bridged the distance between them. That same night, a friend called Dwan to announce his upcoming marriage and asked Dwan about his love life. Upon hearing the word love, Dwan immediately thought of Lucy, but dismissed the thought. Next day, Ming met Lucy and her friends at a restaurant. He agreed to join them for lunch, but Lucy said she had to leave early because she was going to see Dwan. She texted him, letting him know she was visiting him at his workplace. Hearing this news lifted his mood. However, after reaching there from a friend, Dwan received information that Jang was causing a ruckus downstairs, so he left by another door to meet Lucy. He told her not to come frequently. His words hurt Lucy because she knew not that Dwan was trying to save her from Jang. Lucy handed him a camera, saying he could record if Jang created trouble. Lucy ran off, hurt, not knowing the true intentions of Dwan in protecting her further from distress. Ever since, Lucy had been low all day, and whenever Dwan's messages came, she responded in a lackluster manner. Lucy had put in her efforts and finally finished her exams. To celebrate, all of them went out for karaoke. They discussed their holiday plans. Lucy drank a lot and missed Dwan. Ming sang a love song for Lucy, but by then, she had gone out of the room. She was totally drunk and called Dwan. Dwan scolded her. He asked her why she was out so late and with whom. Lucy told Dwan she was with her friends. Dwan instantly told her he was coming to pick her up. Lucy grabbed her bag, bid goodbye to everyone, and left. Ming followed her outside, trying to tell her he sang the song for her. Before he could say more, Lucy, being too drunk, sat down, and Ming tried to help her up. Dwan arrived, feeling jealous seeing Lucy with someone else. He intervened, telling Ming he was Lucy's family and took her away. Lucy told Dwan to leave her alone, but he said he knew she was angry, but shouldn't be out late with a guy. Lucy responded that she was an adult and could do what she wanted, but she suddenly felt nauseous and threw up on Dwan's jacket. Dwan comforted her and guided her to a park to sit down for some fresh air. There, Lucy, still drunk, started crying, saying she felt ugly and fat. Dwan found her complaints amusing, but then reassured her. Lucy accidentally revealed she liked someone who didn't like her back. When Dwan asked who it was, she didn't name him, but said he was kind to everyone and didn't treat her specially. With that, she passed out. This made Dwan sad, and he promised to always make her feel special, not realizing she was talking about him. He carried her to the car, in a way following through his promise. He reminisced about how he seemed so much older when she was younger, but now they were both adults. The following day, Lucy's friends asked her who the good-looking guy was who dropped her at the hostel. Lucy explained that he was the one she talked about before. So Ling asked if he was her crush, to which Lucy said yes before knowing it, thus telling her secret to her friends that she liked her brother's best friend. Lucy decided she was going to go home for a holiday vacation, and Dwan insisted on dropping her off at the airport. When Dwan came and started putting Lucy's luggage in the car, Ming came too, wanting to talk to Lucy. Seeing this, Dwan first felt a little jealous, but then quietly sat in the car. Ming told Lucy that the song he sang last night was especially for her, that is, he liked her, not from now, but from the first time he saw her. Hearing this, Lucy was shocked because she hadn't realized it until now. Before she could deny Ming, she remembered Dwan's words when he once explained that one should never directly reject anyone. So in the present, Lucy said, "Thanks for liking me so much and for singing a song for me, but I like somebody else." Hearing this, Ming's heart was badly broken, but he said that it was okay. They could still be friends. Lucy agreed and said, "Yes, absolutely." After that, Ming gave her the food he had brought for her and left. Lucy went back in the car and with Dwan left for the airport. Inside the car, Dwan asked Lucy a lot of questions, like who that guy was and if they were close, because she was with him last night as well. Dwan had advised her not to go out alone with boys. Lucy replied that she wasn't alone but with her friends. Ming was a friend of her friend Rose's boyfriend. He was not a bad person, but a very good one. Hearing this, Dwan asked if this guy was the one she mentioned last night as her secret crush. Hearing this, Lucy was stunned. Lucy realized that she had told Dwan a lot about her crush last night. So she first clarified that that Ming was not her secret crush. Then, she tried hard to ask Dwayne what she had told him last night as she couldn't remember, but Dwayne didn't answer, which made Lucy upset. Dwan then asked her what kind of boys she liked, but she didn't respond, and instead asked Dwan why he was single and why he didn't have a girlfriend. Dwan replied that he did want a girlfriend now and asked Lucy to find someone for him. Lucy then said that all her friends were older than her, even those from other classes. Dwan said it didn't matter as they would all be fine. Hearing this, Lucy realized that Dwan could date any of the older girls, which meant he didn't like younger girls. Dwan then clarified that the girl must be 20 plus, which made Lucy even more surprised as it meant Dwan could date her too since she was also over 20. Dwan seemed happy saying this to Lucy because he indirectly confirmed that they could be a couple. One flight later, Lucy finally reached home and met her family where Sang-yeon had picked her up from the airport. Lucy brought many presents for everyone, but Sang-yeon didn't like the glasses she got for him. However, he later accepted them because it was the first time she had brought something with so much love. They all spent a good time together and were very happy seeing Lucy after such a long time, especially Sang-yeon, who missed the times when he used to annoy his sister. Dwan met Bong over lunch, who was soon to get married, and wanted to know about the girl Dwan liked. He told Dwan to propose soon to her before someone else did so. To this, Dwan said that he would be happy, even if his crush found someone better. Dwan's friend asked if the girl he liked someone else, and if she had told him about her crush. Dwan explained that she had a secret crush who treated everyone the same, which made his friend think that the girl might be talking about Dwan. Though Dwan dismissed this idea, it also made him wonder if he could be Lucy's secret crush. A few days later at Bong's wedding, everybody's merrymaking, Dwan joined them, and all were teasing each other. Dwan continued to tease Sang-yeon, so Sang-yeon asked Lucy to change seats. At that time, Dwan texted Lucy to ask how she was, saying he is happy to see her after a very long time. He gestured towards Lucy's phone to read the message, and though Lucy read it, she didn't reply immediately. She wanted to eat strawberries, but someone else took them first, so she sat quietly. Dwan noticed all of this and started asking Lucy non-stop about her crush, who he was, his name, and what he studied. Lucy, scared that maybe he had figured out that he was her crush, stuttered through her answers. She then asked Sang-yeon to go home, but he refused, so she decided to go alone. Dwan followed her, saying he had taken her brother's car to drop her home so she should come along. Initially, Lucy refused, but then she agreed. On the way, they stopped to buy strawberries, and Dwan gave strawberries to Lucy. Lucy was overjoyed and started eating the strawberries. Dwan asked her to put her hand forward and then took a bite of the strawberry from her hand. Lucy was very flabbergasted at this, but Dwan was quite joyful. As they reached home, Dwan asked Lucy if she was going back to her hostel tomorrow and suggested they go together because he too was leaving the next day. Lucy agreed to the plan. Dwan then gave a beautiful bracelet as a gift to Lucy. For this, she thanked him and went inside the house. She then searched online about what does the gifting of a bracelet mean, and the result which came on the search engine was that if a boy gives you a bracelet, it means he is interested in you and likes you. Reading it, Lucy was very happy and wondered if Dwan really liked her. The next morning, Dwan came for her to the airport and looked like he hadn't had enough sleep, so Lucy offered him her breakfast, but he did not eat it himself. Instead, he gave it to Lucy because she hadn't eaten either. They shared the breakfast and Dwan was very happy. When they reached the airport, an old friend saw them and asked if Lucy was Dwan's girlfriend, but then he corrected himself, saying that Dwan's girlfriend was Jang. Dwan got angry at this and asked who told him that lie, and the friend apologized and left. Lucy, confused, asked who Jang was. Dwan explained that Jang was the girl who threw water on him, and he asked Lucy if she thought such a girl could be his girlfriend. Lucy then remembered another girl who came to the airport and mistakenly assumed that she was Dwan's girlfriend, which made Dwan laugh a lot because Lucy had mistaken his company director as his girlfriend. In the next scene, Lucy finally reached her hostel. After settling in, she ran to bid Dwan goodbye, who was already waiting for her. Rose saw this from behind. After Lucy came inside, Rose asked her if she really liked Dwan a lot, and if so, why she didn't confess her feelings. Lucy thought about how Dwan always treated her like a sister, and wondered how she could tell him her feelings. Rose explained that Dwan treated her like a sister when she was very young, but now his behavior towards her had changed, indicating that he was interested in her. Meanwhile, Dwayne, sitting in the car, thought back to how Lucy stuttered when he asked her about her secret crush. He thought that it was impossible for her to recently meet that crush for the first time, and deduced there was no other boy. He was Lucy's first love, which was why she came alone to his hometown. Dwan, feeling happy and excited, ran to tell Bong this new insight. Bong, always sensitive to other people's words, encouraged him by saying he thought it for some time now that Dwan's crush liked him too. This now confirmed for Dwan what he had hoped for so long, and his heart swelled with joy. The next day, Lucy was having lunch with her friends when Dwan called her. At Rose's insistence, she had to answer the call in front of them all. Dwan asked her to have dinner with him the next evening. Lucy agreed, but suggested they meet the day after instead. Her friends cheered for her, knowing that she was finally going to go on a date with her longtime crush. However, Shin, the practical one, asked what this meant for Ming. Lucy reassured them all that Ming was just a good friend, and that she has already cleared things with him. Shin nodded, pleased with her answer, and said she was happy for Lucy. The day of the date arrived, and Lucy's friends all gathered around her to prepare her for the date. When she came down the stairs to meet Dwan, he was immobile, staring at how beautiful she looked. Lucy's heart leapt happily at his reaction, but her mood dampened when Dwan mentioned they were going to meet someone. She was afraid he might want to introduce her to another girlfriend, as he promised once. At the restaurant, they bumped into the girl from the airport. Dwan had invited her there to clarify the misunderstanding. Leaving Lucy with the woman, Dwan stepped aside. The woman clarified that she was Dwan's company's director and not his girlfriend. She said that she was at the airport with him that day because Dwan was unwell, and then she had to leave urgently since there was an emergency concerning her husband. She added that Dwan liked Lucy and could not see her crying, unlike when they were kids when he used to see her tears. Lucy's mind was racing. This meant that she had misunderstood everything based on what she saw at the airport. Just then, Dwan returned with his co-workers, who inquired curiously about Lucy. Dwan introduced her as his friend, and everyone was taken aback since Dwan had always told everyone that Lucy was his sister. Lucy just sat there, her mind reeling from all this. Feeling her unease, Dwan asked her if she wanted to leave, and they stepped out together. Outside, Dwan suggested that they look for another restaurant. Lucy, in shock from his touching her, found it difficult to speak. Dwan gently released her hand and confirmed that he had asked the director to explain everything to her so that she would not get it wrong. Lucy, assimilating his words, merely stared at him, a storm of emotions in her eyes. Dwan then suggested that they watch a movie, and Lucy agreed, hoping the movie would distract her mind. At the theater, she texted her friends that she would go home late, and they cheered for her. Dwan asked curiously who she was texting. She told him it was her roommate. Afterwards, Dwan brought her a cup of coffee. Lucy reminded him that she was allergic to milk, and Dwan panicked and tried to retrieve the coffee, but it was too late. Lucy had sipped it. The panic happened when Lucy's face began to manifest signs of an allergic reaction. Worried, Dwan suggested that they see a doctor. Later, when medicine had been applied to her face, Lucy felt embarrassed but touched by Dwan's concern. He had looked closely at her, telling her that even this way she looked cute. Lucy, conscious of her face, kept touching her face, but Dwayne held her hand and led her along. She half-jokingly likened herself to a dog, and he laughed. He then suggested they celebrate her upcoming birthday together. Lucy agreed, and a smile returned to her face. Lucy's friends eagerly waited for her to come back. When she eventually came, they bombarded her with questions. The glowing Lucy told them how Dwan had gone out of his way to make this day special. The following day, on her birthday, Lucy prepared to go out and meet Dwan, who was waiting outside her hostel. First, Ming intercepted her, wishing her a happy birthday and giving her a gift. The first reaction from Dwan was jealousy. He had wanted to be the first to wish her. Despite his feelings, he smiled when greeting Ming. Lucy took Ming's gift and then went over to Dwan, who promptly took the gift from her hands, saying he would hold on to that. As they walked, Dwan could not resist asking about her secret crush again. He probed if he was handsome and tall. Lucy agreed, and Dwan, leaning in closer, asked if he was the one, noting that everything she described seemed to fit him. Lucy was taken aback, wondering how he had guessed her feelings but quickly denying it, saying she would have told him if it were him. Dwan laughed, suggesting that she should reconsider, telling her she might be too nervous to tell the truth. Lucy, with newfound confidence, had clearly denied that Dwan was the one, and they continued their walk. On the bus ride, Dwan asked her to hold his hand for support, as it was shakier than expected. Lucy hesitated, but eventually the girl took his hand. The feeling was both thrilling and nervous. Dwan didn't leave it like that. He made her hold his hand properly to keep her safe. At the movie cinema, Dwayne offered his hand again to Lucy, and she, still reeling with her emotions, refused, saying it wasn't proper to do so. He agreed to this, adding that after all, she wasn't his girlfriend yet, so Lucy was more shocked and astounded than ever. Outside the cinema, Lucy asked again where they were next heading. Dwan revealed that they were going to his place since her birthday present lay there. Upon reaching his abode, Lucy was so shocked to see the beautifully decorated terrace. Cakes were waiting for her, filling her heart with much joy. After blowing out the candles and cutting the cake, Dwan handed her a present, instructing her to open it back at her hostel. Lucy's heart swelled with emotions she could hardly hold in, for she saw how thoughtful Dwan was towards her. As he savored the cake, Dwan casually asked Lucy what kind of guy she liked, foreseeing that she would date somebody sooner or later. Lucy described her ideal partner as gentle, kind, handsome, sweet, and tall. Dwan, with a glint in his playful eye, measured her described height, and then boldly asked her if she could date him because he fit into all the criteria. Lucy was shocked, so she took a close look at Dwan and then reminded him that he had always treated her as his little sister and mentioned their age difference. Dwayne, in a serious tone, said that things were different now. He emphasized that she had never really treated him as a brother and that he knew she liked him. He proposed they clear up everything that that day. Lucy stood up in shock, her mind full of everything. Dwayne, feeling her turmoil, urged her to say something, explaining that he was anxious and felt like he could not breathe. Lucy, deep inside her, admitted that she too could not breathe from the sudden confession of everything from him. Dwan's concerned look asked if her silence really meant she did not like him. Lucy nervously replied that she did not, but then quickly rectified that it is not about not liking him. She was just confused about her emotions. She suggested that if he asked her out a couple more times, maybe she would be able to get her head clear about it. Dwan interpreted Lucy's hint as wanting him to ask her out several times and confirmed it, adding that she never said no to him. Dwan leaned down and said, "If you're not rejecting me, then it means you definitely have feelings for me in your heart. You're just a little shy right now, right, Lucy?" Blushing, Lucy started eating to hide behind her plate. "It's not like that. Anyway, you just asked if you could date me, not exactly a love confession," she shot back. Dwan knew she was right and thought of confessing his love right there. But Lucy quickly changed the subject, starting to exclaim over the cake instead. Dwan caught on and joined in the lighter conversation. "If you like this cake so much, I can make it for you every day," he offered warmly. Lucy laughed, her cheeks still flushed with a quick glow of happiness. Later, back at the hostel, Lucy's friends surprised her with a birthday cake. As she blew out the candles and thanked them, Lights eagerly asked about the date. Lucy smiled dreamily. "Something happened today that I never even dreamed of. Dwan finally proposed to me." Her friends erupted in cheers, Lucy laughing with joy. The next day, Lucy opened the camera Dwan gave her as a gift and found an accidental photo of Dwan inside. She sent it to him, puzzled by its presence. Dwan was surprised, but realized it had been taken by mistake while packing. He explained everything to Lucy on text, who said it didn't matter since the picture was blurry. Dwan teased that he could send a clearer version, making Lucy blush and laugh as she declined. After their conversation, Lucy received a birthday message from her brother along with some money. She excitedly told him about her feelings for someone, not disclosing that it was Dwan, only to be met with strict opposition. Her brother insisted she focus on her studies and not date until she finished university. Lucy, frustrated, argued that being in university shouldn't prevent her from dating, but her brother remained adamant, even threatening to intervene if she disobeyed. Despite her brother's stern words, Lucy could not help but smile at the bracelet Dwan gave her. Rose, seeing her in such glee, inquired when she would agree to date Dwan. The hesitating Lucy replied that she did not know and fell asleep with a buzzing, chaotic mind. The next day, while at a restaurant with her friends, Dwan called Lucy, asking if they could meet the next day. Lucy was about to agree, but her friends intervened, warning her not to look desperate. Dwayne, sensing her hesitation, asked about meeting the day after instead. Once again, Lucy's friends advised against it, and Dwayne was frustrated and baffled by her refusals. He even sought advice from his friends, confused by the sudden turn of events in Lucy's responses. On his third attempt, Dwan asked Lucy to meet again. This time, Rose encouraged her to say yes, pointing out that his persistence showed that he really cared. Lucy finally agreed, and Dwan felt great elation, like he had won something really big. The next day, Lucy was getting ready in excitement to go meet Dwan, but he called to cancel due to urgent work. Disappointed, she spent the day with her friends instead. When he canceled again the following day because of a company problem, Lucy's disappointment heightened. She tried to wear a poker face, but her frustration was evident. Unbeknownst to Lucy, Dwan was in the hospital because his father's health had deteriorated significantly. The doctor told him that after 10 years of suffering from this condition, now his father needs an operation to cure this severe lung problem. Dwan listened in silence as he sat beside his father's bed, his sadness overpowering him. As he sat, his mind wandered to a distant memory. It was a snowy evening, and Dwan had been so excited because his mother had prepared his favorite meal. He eagerly waited for his father, who was unusually late. His father came home, pale-faced and his demeanor frantic. He confessed that he had been drinking and had caused an accident. Panicked, he had fled the scene so the police wouldn't catch him. Dwan's mother started screaming, asking him how could he drink and drive. In the commotion, Dwan, realizing what was right and wrong, picked up the phone to call the police. His father tried to stop him, but Dwan insisted that they have to help the injured, fearing the person might be dead. Dwan's father, fearing the situation and overwhelmed by guilt, tried to stop the call but failed. As the reality set in, his father, in a state of panic, jumped from the balcony, plunging the family into deeper turmoil. The aftermath was brutal. Dwan's father fell into a deep depression, topped off with a mountain of debts. Dwan and his mother worked hard to repay the loans. Dwan even offered to drop out of studies to work full-time, but his mother made him promise to continue his education no matter what. The unending stress eventually took its toll on his mother's health, and she fell gravely ill. Despite Dwan's efforts, she passed away, leaving him to bear all the responsibilities at such a young age. The weight of these memories brought tears to Dwan's eyes. His life had been a series of hardships and sacrifices, and he felt the burden of unfulfilled happiness. The next day, he decided to get comfort in familiar surroundings. At the university, Lucy came with Shin, grumbling in exasperation. "Enough is enough. "There's a limit to ignoring someone. Now I will ignore Dwan too," she said. Then, to her surprise, Dwan appeared. Lucy's heart almost skipped a beat as he drew closer. Shin, sensing the need for privacy, gave up her seat to Dwan and moved to sit ahead. Lucy, in shock and curiosity, asked what he was doing there. Dwan replied casually, "I had some work to do, so I thought, why not come to the university?" Lucy replied with sarcasm, "So you finally have time to meet me." Dwayne, smiling, simply apologized to her while being amused at her antics. Shin, in an attempt to capture the moment discreetly, took a few pictures of them and thus managed to draw Lucy's attention to herself. Lucy scolded Shin, but the rest of the class began to gossip, wondering who this handsome man could be. Dwan himself couldn't take his eyes off Lucy. He had missed her more than he could admit. His intense gaze would make Lucy nervous and distracted. "Focus on your work instead of me," Lucy muttered, pretending to be engrossed in her studies before resting her head on the desk as if to sleep. Seizing the opportunity, Dwayne leaned closer and poked her cheek with his finger, touching gently. The loving gesture startled Lucy, and her eyes widened as she turned her head to find Dwan's face inches from hers. The proximity caused a rush of nervous energy. Lucy's heart raced as she locked eyes with Dwayne. The intensity of the moment made them both blush. Dwan blows a kiss to Lucy, but when Lucy looks at him in shock, but Dwan acts like he never did anything, so Lucy asks him to get closer and then she kisses him on the cheek. Dwan was very happy and shocked since he didn't expect Lucy to kiss him today, but Lucy busted his bubble and told him how she did it as revenge, and it doesn't mean that she has accepted his proposal. Dwan then asks if this means that whenever he blows a kiss, would Lucy kiss him back. Lucy answers him that if he did it again, she would tell her brother, Sang-Yan. Dwan laughed and said that she must have to tell her family about them someday, so this is good. Lucy remains silent. Dwan keeps staring at her, and when he doesn't stop looking at her even after Lucy asks him to stop, she gets happy internally and starts smiling. Thanks to the image Shin shared, Ling and Rose discovered that Lucy's infatuation to Dwayne is now also attending their college, so they were thrilled for Lucy. After the class ended, Lucy and Dwan are conversing about how they longed for one another during their separation as they stroll towards the basketball court to observe Ming's basketball game. All three of Lucy's pals were present, so Dwan and Lucy approached them and greet. The game was going exceptionally well, and Ming's team was dominating until Ming sustains an injury to his leg. Despite his attempts to continue playing, his leg deteriorates, and he is unable to participate. The team requires another player to step in for Ming, but there was no replacement available. So Rose's partner, who also plays on the basketball team, asks Dwan if he can sub in for Ming in the game. Dwan asks Lucy if she is fine with him participating in the game. Lucy states that she doesn't care about him participating in the game, but she was worried if he even knew how to play. Dwan began chuckling because nobody else is aware that he is a national basketball champion, so he removes his bag and goes to participate in the activity. When the game resumed, Dwan performed admirably, garnering praise from all, particularly Lucy. She began rooting for him, and she was not the only one. The whole crowd was backing him up. Ming, who was also observing the game from the sidelines, inquires if that fellow is Lucy's boyfriend. Ling resolves his confusion and informs him that he is on the verge of becoming Lucy's boyfriend. Ming then puts two and two together and realizes that this is why Dwan keeps attending Lucy's classes, and he becomes upset. Dwan was playing exceptionally well, and in fact he scored the final shot, clinching the victory for the team, which left everyone delighted and astounded. He was also extremely pleased with himself, and it was evident from his grin. The four girls are discussing whether they will return home during summer break or take a summer course and remain at the university. Ling, Shin, and Rose choose to remain at the university, so Lucy messages her brother, Sang-Yan, to get approval to stay for the summers. He declines to allow her to remain because he believes that Lucy is desiring to stay because of that boyfriend of hers from the college. Lucy becomes distraught and expresses her feelings towards him, claiming that Sang-Yan is simply envious because Lucy has the opportunity to have a boyfriend, while Sang-Yan has never had the chance to have a girlfriend. Sang-Yan informs her that it's not true, and he also has a partner. Lucy informs him that she simply desires to participate in an internship program, which is why she wishes to stay. But Sang-Yan becomes upset and informs her that she cannot remain, and warns that if she does not return home during the summers, he will visit her and ensure she returns home. Therefore, Lucy counterattacks and asserts that regardless of the circumstances, she remains indifferent and declares that she will continue to reside at the inn during the summers with her companions. The following day, Shin approaches Ming and presents him with a pain relief spray for his basketball injury. Ling and Rose spot her in the act, leading them to understand that she has a fondness for him. Ming expresses her gratitude to him and then inquires if learning about Dwan and Lucy's relationship caused him any sorrow. He informed her that indeed he was a little surprised at first, but now he's fine and delighted that Lucy is content. She then bids farewell to him and strolls over to Ling and Rose, who begin teasing her, inquiring about how long she has had feelings for Ming. She becomes timid and grins as she informs her friends that she must conduct interviews of a few individuals for her video editing class. Thus, she reveals her plan to approach Ming for his interview. Rose urges her to request an an interview from Ming and assures her that Ming will not be able to decline. Duan was at his job, and when the day was finished, as he is exiting his workplace, Lucy startles him and congratulates him on his special day. This made Duan very pleased and astonished about the fact that she remembered. She teased by teasing him as being old, to which Duan quipped that since he is, it is about time for him to tie the knot. Lucy informs him that she hasn't accepted his offer yet, prompting Duan to inquire why she presumed she was the woman he desired to wed. She began chuckling, and they both exited the office and hopped into the car. While they're in his car, Lucy inquires if any of his acquaintances have greeted him yet, so he informs her that they most likely don't even recall. Therefore, Lucy stealthily messages Sang-Yan to wish Duan a joyous birthday. Consequently, Sang-Yan immediately phones Duan in the car. After Sang-Yan wishes him a joyous birthday, he inquires if he received a gift from Lucy. When Duan mentions that he was gifted something, Sang-Yan claims the acknowledgement for it, causing Lucy to be unexpectedly shocked. Sang-Yan didn't realize that Lucy was accompanying him in the car, so he began informing Duan that Lucy has started dating a man who is a few years her senior. Sang-Yan requests Duan to determine who that boyfriend is and where he resides so they can both go together to confront him. Lucy unintentionally releases a sound due to being startled upon hearing this, and Sang-Yan identifies her voice. He inquires if she is also present in the car, prompting Lucy to honestly confirm her presence in the car. She informs Sang-Yan that she was with Duan, and she is treating him to a dinner as a birthday gift on behalf of Sang-Yan. Sang-Yan is stunned to see the both of them together, and asks if they are a couple, and Lucy dispels his uncertainty by stating that there is nothing happening between them, and then she ends the call. Duan is astonished, and mocks Lucy by pointing out that she hasn't even agreed to his proposal yet, but she is already spreading the rumor to her family that she had a partner. Lucy stays quiet because she feels ashamed and pondering why Sang-Yan would say such a thing. She asked Duan what would occur if she turned down his offer, to which Duan replied that he would pursue her relentlessly and pester her until she agreed to it. This brought her joy, and she began grinning. When they eventually arrive at the eatery, Lucy begins to serenade the birthday tune as they walk in, causing Duan to feel embarrassed and hesitant to go inside. However, Lucy persuades him to step in. He's amazed to see how beautifully adorned everything was, and truly expresses his gratitude to Lucy with all sincerity. Lucy requests him to sit down while she goes to the kitchen to prepare noodles for him. She encounters numerous challenges while preparing it, and Duan lurks around the edge of the kitchen, snapping pictures of her and capturing videos of her attempts to cook. Ultimately, she does eventually end up creating the noodles. When she presents them and dishes them out, Duan takes a nibble, and since he understands that it's challenging to create something flawless on the initial attempt, he feigns to genuinely enjoy them. Lucy then becomes joyful and requests him to extinguish the candles on the cake and make a wish. So he shuts his eyes to make a wish, and when he reopens his eyes, Lucy asked him what he desired, so he tells her that he longed for her. She is astounded because she realizes the extent of his fondness for her to the point where he requested her as a desire. So she agrees to his offer, and Duan is surprised and inquires her once more if she is willing to be his girlfriend. When she confirms, he grasps her hand and draws her in for a kiss. He informs her how Lucy is the foremost girl he ever adored and his first girlfriend ever, so this made Lucy very joyful. Subsequently, they head to the shore, and Duan still can't cease gazing at Lucy because he is still in shock that she is his partner. He confides in her completely because he has no desire to conceal anything from her. He informs her that his mother has passed away, and his father is in a comatose state due to a reckless driving incident, the same crash in which Jang's father lost his life. He informs her that he does not possess a residence, but he does have his own car and his own financial accounts, and he inquires if she is fine with being aware of all of this. Lucy informs him that she is fine with it, and she reassures him that everything will improve from now on. The following day, Duan astonishes Lucy outside of her class, and she informs him how she desires to go to the library to study. So Duan mentions how the library is packed, so he proposes to escort her to his residence instead, where she can study in peace, and he will even prepare a meal for her. Lucy agrees, and once they arrive at the house, Duan gives her a tour and escorts her to his bedroom where the desk is, but instead of heading to the kitchen to cook, he settles on the bed and gazes at Lucy, expressing his desire to admire her further. So she arises and moves nearer to him. Lucy instructs him to gaze as much as he desires, and Duan is taken aback after observing her so intimately. Once she retreats, he draws her nearer and declares that he has yet to gaze sufficiently. He inquired if he could linger for a few more moments, but Lucy declined as she needed to focus on her studies, so he asked about her food preferences. She says that she will consume anything, so he goes to the kitchen while Lucy takes a seat at the study desk and continues to learn. The meal is finally prepared and Lucy truly savors it and is amazed by Duan's culinary skills. When they are finished eating, Lucy persuades Duan to allow her to do the dishes, and even though he declines initially, he ends up agreeing after she does not cease insisting. When she's in the kitchen and she's preparing to begin washing the dishes, Dwan pulls her hair forward and fastens the apron around her before questioning why she is tackling the dishes at this moment, having never done them in the past. Lucy responds that she is undertaking the task to acquire skills in household chores, ensuring she can assist Dwan in the future, so he never has to shoulder all the responsibilities alone. Lucy then expresses remorse to him for envisioning scenarios far into the future, and Dwan simply grins at her and assists her with the dishes. When Lucy is finished with the plates, she returns to the study desk and settles in to revise, as her exams were fast approaching. However, she grew weary while learning and decided to take a brief rest on the bed. But as soon as she laid down, she drifted off to sleep. After a few minutes, Dwan came into the room to check on Lucy. Startled by the door's noise, she tumbled off the bed. When Dwan inquired why she was on the floor, she explained that she found studying that way helped her concentrate better. Dwan helped her up from the floor and guided her back to the bed, drawing near to her, right as he was about to kiss her. She shoves him away because she gets anxious when he comes too near, so Dwan apologizes and inquires what she was actually doing down on the floor. So she confesses the truth about how she became drowsy. So then Dwan advised her that she must be exhausted, so he helps her rest on the bed, and even provides her with a blanket so she rests as peacefully as she possibly can. As the sun sets, Dwan escorts Lucy back to her lodging to leave her with Ava during their stroll. He requests her consent to hold his hand, and once she gives him this approval, he plants a kiss on her brow before leaving her at the hostel and returning home. When Dwan returns to his residence, he receives a phone call from his mate Bong, who, after a brief discussion, inquires about the reason behind his cheerful demeanor and if the lady has accepted his proposition. When Dwan confirms that the lady has indeed accepted his proposal, Bong promptly sends a notification in the group chat, informing everyone that Dwan has officially entered into a relationship, even though he remains unaware of the identity of this particular lady. Bong then begins interrogating him about the identity of that woman, so Dwan provides him with a clue by mentioning that she also was present at Bong's wedding. However, Bong remains clueless about whom Dwan is referring to, so he offers yet another hint by disclosing that she is currently enrolled at the college in the identical town where they currently are. After this clue, Bong instantly recognizes that he is referring to Lucy. Bong ends the call right there, and then after stating that he is not familiar with Dwan, so Dwan calls him back and informs him that he cannot retreat from the situation now since Bong was the one who encouraged him to confess his feelings. However, Bong expresses that he wants no part in this situation. Bong inquires if Dwan has disclosed to Sang-Yan about dating his sister because Bong is well aware that Sang-Yan will harm Dwan if he discovers the truth. Dwan informs Bong that he will reveal everything to Sang-Yan when he visits him in his hometown because he prefers to share the information face to face. After reading the communication in the group chat, Sang-Yan dials Bong, but instead of answering, Bong chooses to merge him into the current call so that Dwan can disclose the news personally. Initially, Sang-Yan debates with Dwan regarding his choice to consult Bong for love guidance instead of approaching him. And then he begins asking Dwan about his recent girlfriend and her background, but Dwan informs him that he will provide extensive information about his girlfriend when he visits Sang-Young in his native town. Since Dwan was planning to visit there in a few days, Sang-Yan requests Dwan to take Lucy with him, as Lucy also needed to return home for a few days. So Sang-Yan believed it would be preferable if both of them came together. The following day, Rose asked Lucy's whereabouts throughout the day because Rose mentioned that she searched for Lucy all around the university but could not locate her. So Lucy shares with her everything about how she visited Dwan's residence to study. Rose asks if they shared a kiss, and Lucy assures her they did not. She details how Dwan was on the verge of planting a kiss on her, but she freaked out and shoved him back. Lucy was anxious because she was worried that Dwayne might think she's quirky for this, but Rose comforted her and advised her that the simplest way to resolve this is to kiss him before he attempts to kiss her on the upcoming date. Lucy concurs, and at that very moment rings up Dwayne to arrange a rendezvous for the following week. They visit a roller skating arena for their outing, but Lucy is unfamiliar with skating while Dwayne is an expert, so he offers to instruct her. Lucy informs him that she will be smooching him today, causing Dwan to be surprised. This startles Lucy, making her lose her equilibrium, but Dwayne catches her to prevent her from falling. Lucy inquires if he is anxious, so he reassures her that he is feeling fine and is excited for her to kiss him. Just as she was about to plant a kiss, Dwan pivots and invites her to come along and chase after him if she desires to kiss him. Initially, they bantered in this manner, but eventually Lucy becomes slightly agitated and irritated. Dwan ceases sprinting and he stands in one spot to permit Lucy to catch up to him, and when she eventually catches him, she embraces him and then she plants a gentle peck on his lips. Duan stated that is not the proper way they should kiss and mentioned that was not a correct kiss, so Lucy kisses him once more and he reciprocates. This brings joy to both of them. Upon completion of Lucy's exams and strolling through the corridor with her friends, she receives a phone call informing her of a job interview at one of the establishments she had submitted applications to. It turns out that she was approved, but she didn't know how to inform her family because they desired her to work in her native town instead of the city where her university is located. The following day, a woman approaches Duan, feigning disorientation, and attempts to obtain his social networking handle. Lucy is truly all of this from afar, but she feigned as if she was not even there. Duan refuses the girl and explains that he is unable to share his social media handle as he is in a committed relationship. Lucy was now a little agitated because she was experiencing envy, so Duan reassures her that he is her partner and he is not conversing with anyone else, and he will always remain hers, which uplifts her spirits. When they are at the supermarket, a man approaches Lucy and asks her for her social network ID. Coincidentally, Duan is observing this from a distance. Lucy rebuffs the man outright and informs him that she is in a relationship, so she is unable to provide him with her social media account. Once the man departs, Duan approaches Lucy and inquires about the situation, prompting her to recount how she turned him down and declined by mentioning her boyfriend. Duan is in a gathering company. Chief abruptly starts feeling unwell and gets so sick to the point where they need to call her spouse in order for them to take her to the hospital. However, Lucy is preparing to attend her inaugural day at her new position, and she is filled with anticipation. Lucy received a phone call from Sang Yan, who asked whether she had secured the tickets for her return journey home. Lucy informs him that she will not be returning home this summer due to her internship employment. Sang Yan becomes infuriated and he expresses that he explicitly instructed her not to undertake this task. But Lucy argued that this task holds great significance for her as the skills she will acquire from it will greatly benefit her career. And she also mentions that her parents granted her approval to remain for the job. She informed Sang Yan that she will return home in the upcoming holidays. Sang Yan does not trust that she is remaining for the job and still believes that she is staying because of her boyfriend. And he begins berating her because of the previous occasion she got her heart shattered, and he is shouting so loudly that Lucy's friends can hear him through the phone as well. Lucy ended the call with him, and then her friends questioned how her brother would respond upon learning that she is in a relationship with his friend, considering his irate demeanor. Lucy responds that she will handle it, and reassures her pals not to fret about her. However, Lucy has a change of heart and opts to spill the beans to Sang Yan then and there, so she messaged him explaining all, but the message doesn't go through because it appears Sang Yan has blocked Lucy's phone number. When Lucy arrives at her fresh workplace, a man gives her a tour and points out her workstation, briefing her on her upcoming tasks. He also presents her to the supervisor, Shiwu. She does not acknowledge Shiwu, but she identifies Lucy as the girl who splashed water on her close friend Jiang. Therefore, the boss disregards Lucy's input and returns to her office without listening. She begins to harass Lucy by assigning her an excessive amount of unbearable tasks and making her complete absurd assignments like printing documents. And when she is unable to operate the printer, Shiwu ridicules her in front of the whole office, causing her to feel extremely humiliated. Afterwards in the day, Lucy is lounging outdoors when Duan approaches her, and he is concealing something behind his back, so Lucy attempts to glimpse what it is, and she inquired about it, but he does not reveal it. Instead, he embraces her first, and then he unveils the very same flowers that she was concealing. This fills Lucy with immense joy. They go to a diner to enjoy a meal when Duan interrogates her with many inquiries regarding her initial day of work and the individuals there, prompting Lucy to counter with a query questioning why he is inquiring like he is her paternal figure. After which, Duan provided her with a plaything. Duan instructed her to strike the plaything whenever she felt enraged. Lucy mentioned that the toy looks like Sang Yan, and she begins striking the toy. Duan inquired if she had a falling out with Sang Yan, and she was taken aback, questioning how he knew. He responds that it is apparent from her conduct, and he jests about mentioning that he might have to acquire her a fresh plaything as well in the near future. The following day begins, and everyone dumped their duties onto Lucy at the workplace. And considering how much Shiwu despises her, she deliberately assigns Lucy futile and challenging assignments to ensure that she is constantly occupied with them. Duan contacts Lucy while she is on the job to inquire about her well-being, when Shiwu catches Lucy on her device. As a result, she begins scolding Lucy for using her phone while she is on duty. Duan hears this, but while he is listening to all of that, Lucy terminates the call, which makes Duan realize that individuals at the office are not treating Lucy nicely. Everyone at the office has left, but Lucy is the final one to depart, and at the moment she finishes her tasks and hands them over to Shiwu. She is instructed to begin with a completely fresh box of documents and complete those too, so she has to remain extremely late at the office. On the flip side, Dwan is also putting in extra hours at the workplace due to his boss's illness, and he must also assist his junior colleagues by providing them with guidance. As a result, he is trapped in the office without having consumed any food. When he reaches out to Lucy, she discovers that he is famished and promptly arranges for some food to be delivered to the office. Everyone congregates around the table and requests him to dine with them, but he declines and instructs everyone to partake of their own meals. Then he contacts Lucy and expresses his gratitude, only to discover that she is still at the office this late at night, so he advises her not to return to the hostel alone and offers to transport her back, so he hastily completes the meal so he can go to fetch her. When they encounter each other, they embrace, and Lucy exclaims to be extremely delighted, but she is actually melancholy due to how she is being handled at work. The following day, as she exits her dormitory, she spots Dwan's car parked outside, indicating that he had arrived to pleasantly surprise her with a ride to work. This fills her with joy, but she notices Dwan is sleeping in the car, so when she enters the car and shuts the door, it rouses him. She questions Dwan if he has been putting in extra hours, and he refutes the claim. And then she asked him why he is donning the identical attire as yesterday, and then he admitted that he is working excessively these days. After arriving at the office, Lucy embraces him, and as they exchange a kiss, Shiwoo catches sight of them. When she reaches her own office, she promptly calls Jang to inform him about the incident. This causes Jang to become incredibly envious and furious when Shiwoo inquired about her well-being. Jang deceitfully answers affirmatively, but once the call ends, Jang begins displaying her rage. Shiwoo gives Lucy extremely challenging assignments, but when Lucy poses a query, Shiwoo begins to shout at her so loudly that everyone in the office turns their gaze towards Lucy, leaving her feeling very humiliated. To rescue her from this situation, a co-worker of Lucy's approaches Shiwoo and requests him to review his work together, following which he gestures for Lucy to return to her seat in order to cease her shouting. Jang phones Shiwoo and informs her that she would like to rendezvous with her. However, she'll mention that she has a meal with her colleagues following work, so Jang then requests the location, and Shiwoo forwards it to her. During the meal, Lucy is incredibly uninterested, so she is messaging Dwayne. Dwayne then instructs her to create an excuse and leave, assuring her that he will come and collect Lucy. So Lucy informs Shiwoo that her hostel shuts down early and she must depart. Shiwoo grants her approval to leave, but just as she is exiting and opens the door, she spots Jang standing there, as she was about to enter at that point. Nevertheless, Lucy disregards her and continues walking. But Jang follows closely behind and inquires whether she is truly in a relationship with that individual. Jang then proceeds to advise Lucy to let go of him and cease dating him, as he is the offspring of a criminal. She persistently asserts that Lucy should not be involved with someone with such a tainted lineage, and therefore, there is no point in investing her time in a relationship with him. Lucy clarifies and informs Jang that she is not wasting her time with Dwan, and instead she intends to make him her lifelong partner. She also verbally criticizes Jang, stating that she is not the kind of woman to resort to speaking ill of a man just because she is unable to win him over. Jang claims that Dwan's father killed her dad by striking him with his car and fleeing as he was apprehensive of facing consequences. However, little did his father comprehend that Jang perceived herself as the one being penalized, as she was the one who lost her father. Lucy informed her how she comprehends everything that Jang just mentioned, and she conveys to her how this is not Dwan's responsibility. This is solely his father's responsibility, and he should not be held accountable for his father's deeds. Jang asked Lucy how her family would respond if they discovered that she was dating a man whose father was a killer. Lucy stays quiet and began to stroll away without providing any answer. She departs the establishment, but before she can exit, one of Dwan's acquaintances spots Jang and Lucy together. Lucy was feeling overwhelmed by everything that Jang just said, particularly being referred to as the offspring of a killer. Lucy was also pondering if her family would truly welcome Dwan or not, and as she thought about all of this, Dwan was on her mind. Suddenly appeared Lucy vows to Dwayne that she will always defend him and uphold him no matter what the world says about him. This brings Dwan so much joy and he starts grinning, but in the depths of his mind he wonders what prompted Lucy to make such a commitment in the first instance. On the following day, when Lucy is strolling with Dwan back to her dormitory, she receives a phone call from Sang-yeon, who inquires if she is the female walking while grasping a man's hand. Lucy begins to scan her surroundings and denies being the girl holding a guy's hand. She then questions Sang-yeon about his whereabouts. Sang-yeon mentions that he is not visually impaired before abruptly ending the call and emerging from the shadows behind a tree. He is taken aback to find Lucy and Dwan holding hands. Lucy approaches Song-yan and informs him that she will clarify everything to him and request him to relax, but he does not relax and instead instructs her to accompany him. However, she retreats and takes refuge behind Dwan, who shields her and informs Song-yan that it is not Lucy's fault as he was the one who expressed his feelings initially. Song-yan instructs Dwan to be quiet, and he advises Lucy to return to the hostel, and then the trio proceeds to the hostel to accompany Lucy. While on their way, Lucy attempts to communicate with Dwan, but Sang-yan grabs her and insists on her walking with him instead. Lucy attempts to clarify everything to Sang-yan and informs him how she forwarded him a message detailing everything, but he didn't receive it because she was obstructed, but he continues to dismiss her and refuses to heed her at all. After a brief stroll that seemed to drag on forever, they arrive at the hostel and Sang-yan instructs Lucy to enter. While they're strolling, Dwan attempts to clarify everything to Sang-yan, but Sang-yan becomes so enraged that he strikes Dwan directly in the face. Instead of halting him, Dwan encourages him to strike him until he has released all of his anger and frustration, so Sang-yan does precisely that, and he thrashes Dwan up to the point where he starts bleeding. But then suddenly Sang-yan sits down on the ground beside a tree. Sang-yan inquires Dwan why he pursued his sibling instead of all the females out there in the universe. He then inquired how much time they had spent as a couple, so Dwan informed him that they have been dating for 1.5 months. He also conveyed to him that his emotions for Lucy were genuine, but Sang-yan was not prepared to accept this. Dwan refers to Sang-yan as brother when someone advises him against using that term, to which Dwan retorts by suggesting that the person hit him more if that is their true desire. Dwan then affirms that regardless of how much Sang-yan may strike him, his emotions for Lucy will remain unchanged. Somewhere deep within Sang-yan believed this because he rises and requests Dwan to go home, and he informs Dwan that he simply needs some time to comprehend all of this. As soon as they both enter the house, Sang-yan discovers a pair of women's slippers, and he deduces that they belong to Lucy. He then begins to investigate the entire house for any indications that can confirm if Dwan and Lucy have ever been physically intimate. When he examined the refrigerator, he discovered all of Lucy's preferred snacks inside. Upon selecting Lucy's beloved candy strawberries, Dwan grabbed them away from him and returned them to the fridge, asserting that those were his girlfriend's property. Sang-yan seizes something to drink from the refrigerator, and he settles onto the sofa. When he gazes at the table before him, he comes across an ancient picture of Lucy and Dwan united. So when he links the dots, he comprehends that this has been ongoing for a lengthy period, right under his nose. Dwan applies some medicine to his face because of the injuries he got when Sang-yan hit him. Sang-yan tells him not to act like this in front of him and to be tough. Dwan tells him that he is not doing this for himself, but instead he's doing this for Lucy, because if she finds out that Sang-yan hit him, she will feel angry. Sang-yan realizes that Dwan is right, so tells Dwan to hit him back on the face, so Lucy thinks that they both fought instead of Dwan just getting hit by Sang-yan. So Dwan does exactly that and punches Sang-yan. Later on, when he is resting up in his room, he gets a call from Lucy who inquires how everything is going. Dwan reassures her that Sang-yan is now accepting their relation, and he tells Lucy not to worry. Upon hearing this, Lucy feels relaxed and happy. Dwan wears a face mask when he goes to pick Lucy up from her job the next day, and when Lucy questions it, he tells her that he is wearing it because he has a mild flu. Lucy does not care about the flu and wants to see his face, so she removes his mask, and when her eyes find the marks on her face, she instantly realizes that it was Sang-yan who hit him. Lucy is so furious that she instantly goes to confront Sang-yan about it, and when she finally reaches him, she starts to hit him instantly. Sang-yan asks her how she dared to hit an elder, but Lucy is so furious that she claims to cut off all ties from him.